Hello, this is Will Samurai, as you know, and today we are going to be talking about a left-hand concept that I like to call, and that many pedagogues like to call, walking fingers. It's as easy as it sounds. When we play with our left hands, we pick up our fingers one at a time. The reason being is when our fingers are pressed down, the string that we're playing is lower than the strings around it. What happens a lot of times with beginners is they will play, and especially if it's the same finger, 3 to 3, 3 to 3, or 2 to 2, whatever it is, what is very common is for the fingers to go down, and instead of lifting and replacing, the hand pivots in a way that the fingers fall flat. So the equivalent way of thinking about this in terms of movement is, imagine you're walking. When you're walking, do you drag your feet or do you pick up your feet one at a time? Feet are not on the ground. They literally lift up and replace. It's the exact same thing that has to happen with our fingers as well. You can also think of it as if you are walking on stairs. If you look right about here, for example, I know it's kind of hard to see, but when I'm pressed down, this string right here is lower than that one. Notice what I have to do to get it to roll over. You can see how that straightens my finger in an unhealthy way. So it's just like a step. If my finger's already lower, I actually will hit that string. You can see how both are moving. So we have to lift and replace. So I have an exercise that is really quite simple in concept, but it may take some practice. It's called walking fingers. When we place our fingers, we actually move from the base knuckle joint right there. So notice how my finger comes up from that joint. Same thing from 2, same thing from 3 and 4. We always keep a nice rounded angle with our fingers because it's the healthiest ergonomically, and it keeps our hands and our wrist and our palm the most relaxed, which is what we need. So here's the exercise that you should be doing if you are a new student. Starting with open to 1, and again, you're just going to practice lifting your finger from the base knuckle. Then you're going to walk down. Very good. We're going to go open to 2 first. Then you repeat open to 3. And then open to 4. Okay, very, very good. If you haven't already figured it out, I do not have tapes on my instrument. A lot of times, teachers, myself included, will put these really nice thin tapes that show where your first, second, and third, and fourth fingers go. This is for the standard hand position, which is whole step to the first finger, whole step to the second finger, half step to the third finger, and whole step to the fourth finger. So this is how you should be first learning this exercise. Make sure your fingers are always going on the tapes. Make sure your fingers are always nice and curved in a healthy way, as you discussed with your teacher. Okay, now we're going to continue with the exercise. 1 to 2. Here is where the walking part of this exercise comes in. So, watch how my fingers are moving. Do you notice how my fingers are literally moving one at a time? While one finger's down, the other finger starts to move to the other string by lifting up, moving over. We don't have to go way up here, but we need to have this motion where there's a little up and over. So it's like walking. So 1 foot or 1 finger at a time. And then you'll repeat the same thing with 1, 3. And then 1, 4. Now before we continue on, I also want to point out the entire time my hand is over the fingerboard. It's not splayed out to the side. It's not way over here. I have my hand, my wrist is turned in the whole time. So a lot of people have what I call flat wrist, and it's in when you're looking at your hand, you can see the entire palm. Think of it like a nice turn of your wrist. So we have our flat palm, and then you're going to turn your hand so that all of a sudden your hand is over the fingerboard. Flat wrist, turned. Flat, turn. That's where we want to be the whole time during this exercise. Then continuing on, we start with second finger. You'll notice in this case I am letting my first finger stay off the string. You can also keep it down for part of the way if you want to. Be forewarned, 2, 3 is going to feel awkward because once our third finger is down, from here, to move the second finger back and behind, the tendency is for the 2 to want to be a little too far back because we are generally not very flexible like this. But you notice how we can slide our finger on up towards the 3. That's where we need to go. I have to move that up there. It does feel very tight there, so be forewarned. Same thing with 2, 4. And then finally, 3, 4. Again, the 3 will tend to lay a little on the flat side of the pitch, so be careful here. Good, so Again, this is the tendency. That can happen, so do use caution. Make sure you are referencing your tapes when you are doing that exercise. Okay, so that is the walking fingers exercise. You should be able to go through the entire set that I was able to demonstrate for you, and it might take a day or two, but I promise in the end, if you can get your fingers to move like that, especially within the Suzuki books, which is what most of us violin students will learn through, at least in the beginning, there are so many cases where there's a tricky spot that is tricky because the hand hasn't learned to move with this independent finger movement. And you can have the rest of the piece be really good, and then there's going to be this one spot that just sounds uncoordinated, that has bad tone, and that's because the fingers have not yet learned how to move in an effective manner. So keep your practice up, incorporate this into your daily playing, and I promise that you are going to be thrilled with how much easier you will be able to learn left hand technique as you move forward. So all the best. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.